Do we have free will? It's a question our species has been asking ourselves for centuries, mainly in modern history has that been a real big question. Our ancestors, ancient ancestors, did not ask themselves that question because they already knew. The answer to that question has caused some of us to have existential crisis because we think we are puppets. We have no control. And then to others, it has caused them to feel a sense of safety, as if they are being guided, as if there is something above them that knows better for them and can decide what they should do. I will tell you, we do have free will. But it might not be the free will that you imagine. Most people imagine free will as you can decide exactly what you want to do, when and where. But free will is more specific than that. That mindset is more of wishful thinking. When it is just not like that. We've been blessed by God to be able to decide what we want to do within the confines of a situation. And as we know, each situation that we are in, we may not necessarily had decided that we wanted to be in a certain situation. We may not have decided that at our job we wanted to work with that coworker that we definitely do not get along with. You may not have decided that you wanted your mother or father to die before you thought they should. We may not have decided that we wanted our car to break down on the way to work, where you have to meet your boss's bosses. But we do have the ability to choose what we can do in the set situation that we are in. So I will give a different example, more specific example. There's a snowy mountain. You have a skier going down the hill, and you have a boulder going down the hill. Now, they both start going down the hill. The boulder cannot decide if it wants to go left or right. It cannot decide if it wants to dodge that incoming rock, if it wants to dodge that fallen tree. It has to go the way, the path that it was set upon. On that hill. It has no choice. Now, the skier, there's a difference. The skier has to go down that hill as well. That is the situation he has been put in. But the skier can decide that he wants to dodge that rock, that he wants to jump over that fallen tree if he's able to. He can decide to go left, to go down maybe a more steep path on the hill to get to the bottom of the hill faster. Now, they will both get to the bottom of the hill. Whether they like it or not, they will both get to the bottom of the hill. That skier will get to the bottom of the hill, whether he's dead, he dies on the hill because his body will roll down the steep hill, and the boulder will get down to the bottom of the hill, whether it's in one piece or a million pieces. But the difference between the two is the free will within the situation to decide how you are going to get to the bottom of the hill. What separates the skier's ability to use any training, any experience that he or she has had up until that point to help dictate how they move and maneuver to the bottom of the hill. Whether they get there in one piece or a bunch of pieces. But the boulder will get down to the bottom of the hill on the path that it has taken. And it cannot deviate. It will not deviate. It cannot decide to deviate. That right there is free will. The ability to decide how you operate, what choices you make within a set situation that you are in. You may not be able to decide the exact situation that you are in, but you can decide, you can choose how you operate. Another example. You have to go to the hospital for your child. But the only way to get to the hospital is across the busy street. Now, you can choose whether you want to walk into the middle of the street, into ongoing traffic, or wait until the traffic light tells you that you can walk. But either way, you're in the situation. This is the situation you're in. And now you get to choose how you will move forward. Now, to get more specific, languages are historically created by those of the priest class of whatever society the language is for. The people of the priest class have usually been the most educated on science, literature, and spirituality of said society or civilization. In English, we have a word called freedom. Now, if you split that word up into two parts, you have the word free, and you have the suffix of freedom, which is dom. If we get more specific into that, D-O-M, dom, is the German word for cathedral, or Duomo. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Which is related to the word dome through shared Latin and Greek roots for house. So, what does that mean? You are free, which is the ability to do what you want and how you want it within the confines of where you are. Because dom describes, like I said, cathedral in German, which relates to the word house through its Latin and Greek origins. And what is a house and what is a cathedral? An enclosed space. In other words, a dome. So what does that mean? The word freedom tells you to your face that it really means to be free within the confines of something. The people who create languages put in the meanings of the words, but it is our job to be able to decipher said words or said language to really understand what they are saying, what they mean. We all grew up hearing the word freedom, being told the word freedom is being able to do exactly what you want, where you want, when you want. But the word freedom actually tells us that we are free to do whatever we want to do within the confines of a situation. Not being able to freely choose the situation that we are in, but being able to choose what we can do within the situation. That is the blessing we got. That is the blessing we have. And that is the blessing we should be more than happy to have, to be grateful to have. Because there is so much power in being able to decide what you want to decide within a situation. That is free will. That is what free will is. Because do we think that God is exactly where God wants to be? Do we think that he's exactly where he wants to be? In a dark universe that is lit up partially, somewhere that it does not know fully what's going on all the time. We all have souls, which are fragments of God, and God is light. Souls are light, which means we are God acting out life, going through life, trying to figure this thing out. We're not so useless as to just be here to be here. We're here trying to figure things out as God. We got the blessings God gives us because those are the blessings that God has as well. The ability to choose what to do within a situation. Trying to figure out what we can do within a situation. As humans, the thought of not having any free will at all, not being able to decide for yourself should terrify all of us to our cores. Because then you are nothing more than a puppet. Pretty much a dead puppet. The fact that we can decide and can choose should be one of the greatest things to you, to me, in the world, in the universe. Because it means you are the dictator of your own life. You decide what you do and when you do it. It gives you power over your life. And now, to end this video, I want to leave you all with one quote. The circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. I hope you all have a blessed day, blessed night, wherever you are. Thank you for listening.